Hi everyone, this is Sarah Fancy. I'm doing this presentation on Chromotherapy and Spooky2. I want to start with this prayer that was written by Dinshah. I'm going to tell you more about him later, but this was written in 1891. And before he came to America, he's from India. And this is it. Grant me that which was in me, but was suppressed. Grant me the tongue that resounds the world, the eye that enfeebles the wicked, the nose that scents the truth, the ear that hears the ant, the touch that feels the ether, the intuition that knows the norms, the health that helps the needy, the wealth that wields the worldly, all so that during life I exist selfless and at passage to the higher planes, leaving behind a lighted trail to be followed by the searcher for the beyond. Okay, so he felt the fruitification of this prayer was the birth of spectro-chrometry. So this is chromotherapy, his version of it. And it was 29 years prior to when he launched Spectro-Chrome, in New Jersey. Okay, so let me talk about the pictures here. On the left are colored mason jars. I did an experiment. Can I imprint colors into water using colored mason jars? So that's what I did. And I'm lucky because I live in California and it's pretty much sunny most of the time. So there's an abundance of sun. Why not use it? Anyway, that was an idea I had. Why not use colored mason jars? I knew they had colored ones. There's other ways of imprinting too, which I'm going to get into. And in the middle here is a color wheel. And this is Spectro-Chrome color wheel. This is Dinshah's one. And it has 12 colors. And then on the right, you'll see the Spooky2 Generator X Pro with the contacts pads. And then underneath is the one with the remotes. So there's two generators in the Generator X Pro. It's a twin generator. And we have two boosters as well. So that's the boosters coming out attached to the remotes. Right. Let's get to the next slide. In this presentation, what is chromotherapy? How does chromotherapy work? How to use chromotherapy for healing and Spectro-Chrome light therapy in Spooky2 software. Okay, let's talk about what is chromotherapy. So chromotherapy is a form of therapy that uses color and light to treat mental and physical health conditions. By exposing the body to specific colors, practitioners aim to restore balance to the body's energy centers, stimulate healing and tissue regeneration, reduce stress and anxiety, improve mood and overall well-being, and a lot more, as you're going to find out. So chromotherapy can be administered through various methods, including Spooky2 generators, remote and contact modes, because the colors have frequencies, okay, which reduces to a number. And those frequencies can be sent through the generators to the person via either contact, like straight onto the body, as in contact pads, TENS pads, or the bars, you hold the bars, you can do it like that as well. Or you can either do it through cold laser as well and PMF. Those are other ways that you can do contact with the Spooky2 generators. Light therapy lamps and projectors, colorful lights and bulbs, sunlight through color filters in glass. So bear in mind, Dinshah was around in the 1800s, and this was before LED lights and things like that. And he used incandescent light bulbs. And those bulbs have the full spectrum of light in them. They're very similar to the sunlight. And I believe the LED lights they're missing something in there. So not as good. Okay, let's go to the next one. So I'm not sure how to pronounce this name. I don't know if it's Avicenna or Avicenna, but I'm giving you a history here of chromotherapy. So from 980 to 1037, Avicenna or Senna saw color as of vital importance, both in diagnosis and treatment. He discussed chromotherapy in his book, The Canon of Medicine. He wrote, color is an observable symptom of disease, and he developed a chart that related color to the temperature and physical condition of the body. His view was that red moved blood, blue or white cooled it, and yellow reduced muscular pain and inflammation. Pioneer of photography, Robert Hunt, performed experiments on the effects of different wavelengths of light on the germination and growth of plants, detailed in his 1844 book, Researches on Light. Influenced by his work, from 1860, Augustus Pleasonton conducted original experiments and in 1876 published The Influence of the Blue Ray of the Sunlight and of the Blue Color of the Sky, detailing how the color blue can improve the growth of crops and livestock and can help heal diseases in humans. This led to the modern birth of chromotherapy, influencing contemporary scientists Dr. Seth Pancoast and Edwin Dwight Babbitt to conduct experiments and publish Blue and Red Light, or Light and Its Rays as Medicine, 1877, and The Principles of Light and Color, 1878, respectively. Pancoast held the view that God is light and the one universal pathological agent that could cure disease. He would expose medications to colored light before administering them to a patient, and also utilized sun baths fitted with colored panes of glass. Throughout the 19th century, color healers claimed color glass filters could treat many diseases, including constipation and meningitis. In Germany, in the late 1900s, George von Langsdorff promoted Babbitt's ideas and mixed color therapy with psychometry and spiritualism. So now we come to Dishnah P. Gadiali, right? So he's known more as Dishnah because people had trouble pronouncing his last name. And he's the one who came up with Spectro-Chrome. So in 1933, Indian scientist Dinshah P. Gadiali published the Spectro-Chrome Memetry Encyclopedia. So write that down or come back to this or screenshot, because you want to check out that book if you're interested in chromotherapy, if you're interested in this at all. Like, it's got tons of information in it. It's really old and it's hard to find. Well, you can find it, but it's expensive, like really expensive, because it's out of print. But you can get a PDF of it. I found one on Internet Archive, and it's a nonprofit, and you can download it for free, but they suggest that you give a donation. So that's a good thing to do if you're going to download it. That's what I did anyway from that site. Dishnah believed that colors represent chemical potencies in higher octaves of vibration, and for each organism and system of the body, there is a particular color that stimulates and another that inhibits the work of that organ or system. He also thought that by knowing the action of the different colors upon the different organs and systems of the body, one can apply the correct color that will balance the action of any organ or system that has become abnormal in its functions or condition. Dinshah spent decades studying the effects of colors on specific illnesses and taught medical professionals how to integrate chromotherapy into their practices. It wasn't long before the AMA, that's the American Medical Association, drug industry, and the US government stepped in to stop him. And you can read about Dinshah's battle with the medical establishments who labeled him a quack and con man in the book Color War, written by Stephen and Harvey Rachlin. So there's the cover of this book, Color War, came out in 2018. It looks like a really good read. It got great reviews on Amazon. I haven't read it yet. I plan to. I did read about some of his battles where they came after him, and the first one, he actually had medical professionals that had been his students, and they testified about how they had treated all these diseases with his technique, and he got off. The jury found him innocent, but then they came after him again and again and again until he ended up in jail or in prison for, I think, 18 months. And but he just continued as a warrior, a true warrior, and he needs respect and recognition. He also knew Tesla. Let's say this, he visited Tesla because they're all around that same time. You got Rife, Royal Raymond Rife, right, which is frequencies. That's Spooky2, is based on Rife. Then you've got Scalar, which is Tesla. Scalar is incredibly healing. Spooky2 has the Scalar device. And then Dinshah, who no one's really heard of, he's not talked about much, but he brought forward color healing, right? Color as a way of healing. I mean, how natural can you get? Colors all around us, right? And using light, right, to activate those colors for healing benefits. Like, it can be the sun. So you can use the sun as a light source, or light bulbs, like I mentioned earlier. So to find out more about it and to actually learn this, and this is how I learned it, was from this book, right? It's a very simple book. It's not very big. You can read it pretty fast, but it's packed with information. So it's called Let There Be Light by Darius Dishnah. So Darius was Dinshah's son. And this one I got was the 8th edition. I think there's 13 editions. Anyway, that's how I learned how to do it, from this book. And you can too. And it's not expensive. I think I got that for like $12 or something. Okay, so Dinshah's legacy lives on through the Dinshah Health Society, a non-profit organization with the express aim of stimulating interest in and promulgating knowledge of lesser-known methods of restoring and maintaining health. You can learn all about Spectro-Chrome light therapy in the book Let There Be Light, written by Dinshah's son, Darius. Okay, how it works. So Dinshah created a system of 12 colors that he called Spectro-Chrome. The infragreen colors, all right, so these are the colors that come before green on the left side here, okay? Scarlet, red, orange, yellow, and lemon come before green and are stimulating and relate to the sympathetic nervous system. The ultra green colors, they're all the colors that come after here on the left side. Turquoise, blue, indigo, violet, and purple come after green and are depressants and relate to the parasympathetic nervous system. So if you don't know what the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system is, it's basically the sympathetic nervous system is the fight or flight nervous system. It's like when we get all jacked up with cortisol and adrenaline, and we want to run for our lives, or we get nervous, or we just have a lot of anxiety, right? So then we're in our sympathetic nervous system. And also, we need that to be active and get things done, right? And then you have the sympathetic nervous system is when we relax, right? So that's to do with the melatonin being in our body. That happens when it gets dark. It's a natural hormone that is released in us. And that's when we calm down, we relax, and we can also heal in that place. In the parasympathetic nervous system, that's usually where the healing happens. Okay. So green is the median color of the spectrum and is therefore the governing color. So in brackets, physical positive polarity. Magenta is the simultaneous use of both ends of the spectrum, which endows it with a power of equilibration, and in brackets, emotional negative polarity. So Dishnah termed them dual aspects of the same frequency. So you have green at the top, magenta at the bottom. And magenta is related to emotional healing, where green is for physical healing. And pretty much you use green if there's a chronic condition. You start with green because that will balance out the system, and then you go target the illness with specific colors that will help that illness or support it. So here we have a chart, and this is from Let There Be Light book. Okay, so tonation equals exposing the skin to a color. So when you tonate, that's when you're exposing the body to a color or colors. All right, or to tonate. If you're going to tonate, you're going to use the colors to send to the person if you're doing it through Spooky. Okay, so this is Dishnah's Spectro-Chrome area chart. So he called it an area chart. It's very simple. The appropriate numbers are used to direct the user to the specific area for their condition. So here you see on the left, right, is the front of the body. Number 1 is the middle of the head. It's basically rules the head. Then you have 2, 3. It's the thyroid. And then 3, it's just underneath that. So anyway, it relates to each part of the body and it lists it in the book. All right. So you're looking at organs as well, not just it's not just the shoulders or whatever. It's the organs as well, and the muscles and everything, and the energy centers. Okay, so it's all related. So it's not just exclusive to the energy centers; it's to everything in the body. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. It's all together. So the front goes from 1 to 10 or 11, let's say that. It's just on the top of the thighs. That would be considered, you would do all of that if it was a systemic issue, okay? And then you could even go all the way down to the feet, which would be 22. So these numbers are important because they are mentioned in the book. They are mentioned in the Spooky data software when we get to that. And then you'll understand, oh, that's what that means. Okay, it's related to a part of the body. Or it could be just targeting an area like, the heart, number 4. Okay, or, the front of the thigh, 12. If you had a burn, so like you had a burn on the front of your thigh, you would tonate to number 12. Sometimes in burns, if it's very severe, the kidneys are affected, and he used to tonate onto the kidneys and got incredible results, because that's when people die, is they can't pee, and then they just die because they're full of toxins. But there's a case study in Let There Be Light, actually, about a burn as a child, a burn victim, but you can read about it in there. It's really interesting. And well, the child got well and didn't even have any scars. So it's amazing. And that was done all through color exposure. So for burns, really good. Okay, let's go. Oh yeah, so let me just read this. Systemic conditions tonate from 1 to 11, the front, or 15 to 19 on the back, or the entire front or back to 22. So now you know what that means. It's not complicated. All right, so these are my things I put together around, like, how does it work? Like, so this is just contemplation on my part, but I find it interesting, that we and everything around us is made up of 99.9999999 space. All right, so we're very little matter, like hardly anything, and that everything living has an auric field made up of colors. So this is Kirlian photography on the right. I don't know if you know about that. It was kind of more popular, I don't know, 20 years ago or something. I saw a lot of it around then. Haven't seen so much of it now. You can buy Kirlian cameras. I've seen them online. And so the theory is that this is light from our body that is in our auric field. It's also inside us and coming out. And then people have worked out a sort of diagnostic way of, oh, that color relates to this in the body, like that man mentioned earlier. Remember in the beginning, I talked about the history, and he talked about colors indicating diagnosis and stuff. Anyway, so I find it interesting. Some people think it's rubbish, but everyone's entitled to their own opinion, right? Let's go to the next one. Okay, do we live in a simulated reality? I don't know. Do we? Are we in a hologram? I don't know. These are things that I've thought about quite a bit, and I'm not going to tell you what I think because, I could change tomorrow, whatever. I just like to have an open mind, and some of it makes a lot of sense that we are in a hologram and that we live in a simulated reality. Anyway, I'm just throwing these things out to contemplate. So Dishnah proved again and again that exposing specific colors for certain conditions and illnesses supported the body in healing itself. The appropriate colors activated by light recalibrates our energetic body, thereby correcting any imbalances. So that's kind of what I put together from this. I've been involved in the healing arts for a long time. My background is in polarity therapy and cranial sacral unwinding. I also a Reiki master. I've done a lot of remote healings with Reiki, which is basically you can send healing through time and space. You can go back in time, you can go forward in time, you can send healing to way to Japan or whatever, Australia. And I've witnessed like incredible results doing that, right? So when it's all about, oh, it has to be up and close, like, no, it doesn't. That's an illusion. All right. So it's not a stretch for me to kind of step into this chromotherapy and understand how it works in a way that makes sense to me. Anyway, so that's my theory at the end. How to use chromotherapy for healing: imprinting colors into water. So this is just one way, right? I'm talking about other ways as we get in. You can imprint color frequencies into water by placing a glass container of water onto the Spooky2 PEMF coil. So if you don't know what that is, I'm going to show a picture of it, but looks like a spoon with a hole in it. It's black, it's flat, and PEMF means pulsed electromagnetic field, and that attaches to the Spooky generator, and you can put the colors frequencies through that, and then you put the glass water on top of the coil, and there you have imprinted water. Okay, that's one way. Or exposing the container of water to cold laser, placed over the top of the glass. So cold laser is another attachment. I'm going to show you what it is on the next slide. Or placing the TENS pads onto the glass and running the colors you want to imprint through the Spooky2 software program. So I did a whole video about imprinting. It's on this channel. I'll put a link to that video in the description. Also, I want to mention that I do have a discount code. Please look in the description if you want to get any Spooky2 products. There's a 5% discount, and it's valid until 10/23/24. So that's October 23rd of 2024. Okay, so alternatively, you can imprint colors into water by putting water into colored glass jars and exposing them to the sun or an incandescent light bulb, or project light through a colored filter onto a glass container of water. So in Dishnah's method, he used colored filters. Okay, so they're used in film, on stage, theater. It's basically like gels, like colored gels, right? You can find, they're on Amazon. I think they're $11 each. And in his book, they suggest the specific colors, right? Because he standardized the colors in the sense of they can be replicated. Like, this is what I did. I used this specific color. I got this specific result. You see what I mean? So that's what he recommends. And they are on Amazon, or you can look up Dinshah's color gels. He doesn't sell them, but he recommends specific ones. Okay, but I just thought, like, why can't we use colored jars? Because I knew that mason jars come in colors. So that was more of an experiment on my part of imprinting water that way. But who knows? It's probably going to be stronger through the gels because they're really much more, let's say, not fully opaque, but they're richer in color than the glass jars. That's just my sense. I don't know. I'm going to try both. Let's go to the next one. So here you have the jars, the blue ones, and then the rose, yellow, green, turquoise, and blue. And they don't have to be exposed very long. I think, maybe an hour. And, I had heard a while back that drinking water from blue glass is healing, that had been exposed to the sun. And I thought, oh, and, I didn't know. I thought, I wonder why, so then I discovered chromotherapy, and oh, it makes sense now that they talked about that. Okay, so here on the left, here we have the PEMF coil. Okay, that's what it looks like, that black thing. Looks like a spoon, flat spoon. Glass of water, you put the glass of water on top, balance it. Put it somewhere that it's not going to fall over. And then you have bottom left, you have the cold laser. So that's what the cold laser looks like. It's attached to the XM generator. You can use that as well as the Generator X Pro. Spooky has two kinds of generators. This one is the first one they came out with. And then they came out with the Generator X Pro, which is a twin generator. Okay, so this is a single generator. It's good. They're all good. Everything's good. And then what you would do with the cold laser is you would place it over the top of the glass with the water in it. You don't put it in the water, all right? You just put it over the top. And then caution, wear protective glasses, because you are dealing with a laser. It's real. That it comes with glasses, dark glasses, to protect your eyes. All right, so to run Spectro-Chrome frequencies remotely, all right, here on the right is an XM generator. I just talked about that one. It has a booster that comes separately, right? And then the remote box. And that's how you attach it. It's pretty simple. It's you can use either Generator X Pro or XM generator. You will need the Spooky2 boost and remote V2. Attach the boost to the generator and then remote to the BN port of the boost. Okay, so if you're visual, you're just like, oh, it goes on the left. And then make sure you have the boost the right way up, right? So sometimes I put it the other way up by accident. No, it goes a specific way, and you'll see the writing on the boost. It says what each output is. So obviously you want to have the writing the right way up, then you know you have the boost in the right way. Okay, so let's going into the software. All right, you go to presets, and then you go to home, and then you go to miscellaneous, and then you'll find Spectro-Chrome in there. And then you'll find an extensive menu. You can also use any of the presets via remote or contact, which I've already talked about. Okay, so here's photos of what it looks like in the software. So you're in presets, okay? Presets to the left, the tab on the left. And then you're in home. So click on home, come down, and you see miscellaneous. Click on there. And then go down and you'll see Spectro-Chrome light therapy. That's where you'll find it. And other great things in there too. And then this menu comes up: 8 Hertz, brain cognitive, diseases, ears, eyes, headache, heart, hormones, oral issues, reproductive issues, respiratory issues, skin issues, colors, contact, remote, and shell presets. So all in there are color programs. That's how you find it. All right, so I'm going to give you some personal testimonies. Last year, I rescued a horse who was suffering with horrible skin allergies. It was so bad that the owners couldn't deal with him. They couldn't do anything with him. It was so tormented. He couldn't stand still. I mean, he was suffering, right? So the traditional vet treatments were not working, which was steroids and antibiotics. So I ended up adopting him. I did a fundraiser, and he's a little Mustang. He's really cute. He's about 7 years old. Anyway, I didn't know much else about him, but he wasn't in a good way when I got him. Anyway, I first put him on the 11-day cleanse, the terrain, and then I remotely ran the color frequencies associated with itching and allergies. His condition improved, and after about a week, he no longer scratched himself and his wounds healed. So, yeah, it's a year later and he's still doing great. I did all of his treatment remotely with a sample of his hoof inside the remote box attached to a Spooky2 Generator X Pro. A Spooky2 XM generator will work also. So I don't know if you know anything about horses, but when you get a horse that is suffering, is in a pain, and he's itchy, he's probably not going to be touched, and who knows if he's a kicker, might kick or whatever, or bite, I don't know, in a defense, as a way to defend himself. So all I had to do was get a little sample of his hoof, which I did with a little file. And, most horses have been trained to pick up their feet, okay? Because as an owner, you clean out their feet and then you get a farrier in to trim the feet. So to be able to do that, the horse has to learn how to pick up his feet. And I know that he knew how to do that. So I was able to get a sample. And I didn't know how he was going to be, if I touched him on his body, right? So all the sores were on his belly, on his chest, and horribly in his ears. I mean, his whole ears were like raw skin, blood, raw skin, where he'd just been scratching. Horrible. Anyway, when I first got him, I put him with my other Mustang, and she kicked him pretty bad on the inside of his back leg. And I was treating that wound, and it didn't seem to be getting any better. It wasn't getting any worse, but it wasn't getting any better. And then I found in my drawer this flashlight that someone had given me about 20 years ago or more. And it was a color therapy flashlight. I didn't know, but it just had the red, right? So red light. And this guy just gave it to me. It wasn't an LED. It was before LED came out. And I just picked that up and I thought, I'm going to try that. And I just exposed that light to him for maybe 15 minutes, not very long. I just shone it on the wound. And the next day I noticed it got a little better. So something happened. And I thought, oh, wow, it must have been that light. So then I was like, okay. And I knew there were colors in the database because I had already used a couple of them, but I wasn't sort of really gung-ho about it. But then I thought, I'm going to look in the the color menu to see if I can find anything to help him in there. And then I found the itchy ones, right? Which I ran and which I had which was successful. So yeah, his condition improved, and after about a week he no longer scratched himself and his wounds healed. It's a year later and he's still doing great. I did all of his treatment remotely with a sample of his hoof inside the remote box attached to a Spooky2 generator X Pro. I think I already read that, sorry, so I'm just repeating myself, sorry. But anyway, that was really great for me, that I could help him without just giving him more and more drugs, which is really a lot for his kidneys and liver. And, then it's a whole chain of events, right? That's going downhill. So I think horses respond to it really well. And, any plants, other animals, right? Because it is natural. We're using natural element, which is light, right, and colors. Okay, so my personal success with Spooky2 Spectro-Chrome is I had a bad fall. I fell on hard ice twice and I broke my collarbone, but I didn't know it was broken. Anyway, I found the colors associated with broken bones and ran the Spectro color presets via contact TENS pads through Spooky2 Central. And I could literally feel something happening in my broken collarbone. I also ran Spectro-Chrome colors remotely. My broken bone healed really well in about 12 weeks. So how I did that was I put the TENS pads on each side of the bone. Like I said, I didn't know it was broken. I ended up going to Mexico 3 weeks later. I got an X-ray, boom, it's broken. And then, but then I knew what to do, right? So bones will come together. They will fuse together. With your collarbone, you can't put a brace, but I saw an osteopath and he said, you have to wear this brace, this brace, this brace. You can't drive, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's just impossible for me because I was already driving, right? I have to. And there's certain things I have to do every day. So I was managing my pain through Spooky, and I was running bone trauma programs, things like that. But then when I knew it was broken, I had a trajectory. Okay, I know what to do. I'm going to do this. And when I started doing those treatments and I used the color ones because they came up when I put up broken bones or fractured bones, the colors came up. I believe I don't want to say what the colors were because I can't remember, but it's in there. We can go and look. I'll show you when I go into the software. But I felt some stimulation in there, and it wasn't like feeling the frequencies as a vibration. Like sometimes when the frequencies are low, like meaning, from 1 to 100, something, you can really feel them. Like it wasn't like that. It was something, it was a different kind of feeling than that. Anyway, I was really happy. I was really grateful for Spooky2 that I had I had the generators. I had just gotten the Spooky Central, and I was using the cold laser, which I mentioned before. I did that right away when I heard it. Because I also hurt my shoulder. I mean, it hurt a lot of things when I fell, not just my bone. And I got out of pain from using the laser. So I could feed my horses, right? I could do my basic things I have to do every day. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so let's take a look at the software. I'm going to stop share here. Okay, so now we're looking in the software. I'm going to show you how to find the Spectro-Chrome in the software here. So on the left, you have the presets tab. You click on there, click on home, come down, you find miscellaneous. Click on there, come down, find Spectro-Chrome light therapy. And then I'm going to show you, what I ran for my horse. So I went into skin issues. I ran it remotely. So that means I had his DNA sample in a remote box attached to a booster, attached to the generator, attached to the laptop. Okay. And then it's 191. Click on there. Tick itches, insect bites, dermatitis. All right. So I'm looking on the right hand window here. Sorry, I'm going to go back here. I'm not going to put it in the preset box here. Okay. So when it says 191, that's the program in here. And then turquoise 33, 35, and blue 37 on affected areas. So 33 and 35 are numbers relating to the color turquoise and to the properties of that color. All right, so that's all in this book. I figured it out. That's what it relates to. You don't have to worry too much about it. It's more if you really want to get into it and you want to know specifically what that color does. But even here, it says it. So when we go down, it says 33, which means turquoise, produces a favorable change in the process of nutrition and repair in recent disorders. So like messed up skin, right? It's been rubbing it raw. So it repaired it. And then you have 34, which is still turquoise because each color has more than one benefit, does more than one thing. Like there's several. So 34, it says brain depressant areas 1 to 15. So when it says areas, hashtag 1 to 15, that relates to that chart that I showed earlier. 1 is the head, 15 is the bottom of the torso, remember? So this whole front area, which is, sorry, then skin tonic 35, that's still turquoise, rebuilds burned skin. Okay, then you go to 36, equilibrator after extent use of infragreen tonations. Okay, 36. But it also mentions 37, which I believe is blue. And oh yeah, here we go. So I'm going to look up what 36 is. Hold on a minute. Let me look in the book. So yeah, all the information is in this book. It's a little complicated, but not really. I mean, I figured it out. Okay. Okay, here we go. I found it. Okay, so 36 is still turquoise. It's really hard for me to say that word. Equilibrator. I'm not even going to say it, but equilibrator. After extended use of infragreen tonations. And then blue, number 37, relieves itching and irritation of abraded surfaces. So I'm reading it directly from this book. It has the number there that it says on here, right? In brackets. So that's what that's about. So you don't have to worry too much about that. Okay, so we've loaded this program into this box here. We're going to go to programs because I want to change the repeat chain. I want to put it on 0. And then we're going to go to control. And then overwrite. You always do overwrite first. And then I want to click on 11. That's the generator. I want to run it. And I'm just going to start it and see what happens. So turquoise runs for 4 seconds, and then it goes to blue, and then it goes back to turquoise. You see that? And it's just going to keep going, alternating from blue to turquoise. That's the way that the preset is designed. That's that may not have been the way that Dinshah did it. He usually did one color, expose the color for a certain amount of time. He suggests an hour. And then later you might expose it to the other color. But some people I've heard done it for 20 minutes and they got results from exposing the color through the gel with a light source onto the skin, the bare skin. All right, but we're doing it this way with frequencies and it works, But I just want to show you something. So what I found was because this program runs really fast, like it goes 4 seconds here, 4 seconds there, it seemed to disrupt my other programs if I wanted to put something else in. So you see how it goes to the circle thing, the timer? I don't know what it's called. I'm not a Windows person, sorry. But anyway, so if I want to click on another generator, it takes its time. It's not going there, right? So I'm going to go back to 11. And I'm going to pause. I'm going to pause it. All right, then I'm going to go back to this one. And yeah, that's going nicely now. So go back to 11 and unpause it. So if you want to adjust any of your other generators that are running, or you want to load another program in another generator and you have a color program running, pause it if you're having trouble. Maybe it's my computer. I don't know. But I just noticed that. So I wanted to let everyone know that that's a way around it. Just pause it and then unpause it when you've finished what you need to do. So I am going to stop that. But I hope you get the idea now. There, stopped. Okay, so that's basically how you run it remotely. Let's go back in preset. I want to show you some things in here too. Let's go back up here. All right, if you want to look at the whole menu that's in here, go and select remote, right? Click on remote and it'll all come up like balance, insomnia, falling hair, cataracts, glaucoma, cold. There's tons of things in here, right? Liver cancer, fatty liver, acute hepatitis, worm infestations, and on and on and on. So you can check out programs in there as well, or go to the categories, right? So eyes, remote, and then you've got macular degeneration, eye hemorrhage, week 1, week 2. So that's a series. Let's let's go back. So if you want to go back, you just click on that left thing there, the arrow. And let's look at diseases. So tons of diseases in here. Yellow fever, military fever, anthrax, polio, and so on. Lyme, it's Lyme in there. Lots of programs for Lyme. Chronic fatigue. All right, so you get the idea, yeah? And if you have any questions, you can put them below in the description. So please enjoy a 5% discount off any Spooky2 products. Expires after a month on 10/23/24. Use code SARAH, that's without the H, SARA 0924. You can also contact me via email at frequenciesup@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook as Sarah Fancy. I'm on Instagram, Sarah Fancy Constellation, and my YouTube channel, Frequency Healing, where you'll find my previous spooky tutorials and more. And that's where you are now. It's the Frequency Healing channel. Thank you so much for watching. And yeah, please subscribe if you want to watch more, because I'll be posting other videos, tutorials. And yeah, thank you. Bye.